WVON 1690. This is the Talk of Chicago. Thank y'all, brothers and sisters, for hanging out with us tonight. 3 hours of straight words with Brother Naba'a Muhammad. He is the editor-in-chief of the Final Call newspaper, contributing editor of the Final Call newspaper, is also a new official member of the Straight Words program. Brother James G. Muhammad. I'm Brother B.J.
Right.
Murphy. And, we got to do that new promo over. And we got to
really do
photos and everything, man. So
you're absolutely right, man. We got to do all that. Welcome aboard, brother, officially as James G. Muhammad.
Yeah. Well, I had to join the fire thrower and the Hall of Famer, man. You know.
Oh, Lord.
I'm honored to be here, brother.
Brother, we're honored to have you. Art. Did you hold on? Did you make it through? Sorry for having you hold on. But if Art managed to hold on, let's bring him on right now.
Not a problem. Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Alaikum
salam.
Here, the Million Man March was a beautiful experience, and I think it was necessary. And I ask you, brothers, and I make this statement quite often, and what now? We don't have to go across to no other city. We can just sit here, right here in the city of Chicago. And my question is, and I'll give a little feedback on it, what are we going to do today in the black community with the broken black family, no unity? We have violence all across the board, black on black crime. To me, we spend too much time talking about other people's problems and biblical stuff and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, if I go outside and get carjacked and killed, or someone you love that's close, what's going on in Gaza and all that stuff, you ain't gonna have no concern about that. Your concern is going to be, why did this brother blow down my sister, my mother, my grandmother, or some family member that you love? And to me, until we can have a universal community code of conduct and family value system, all those entities who anticipated so-called, quote-unquote, in the Million Man March have that same type of tenacity and come up with a family program that is universal in every church, mosque, organization that has nothing to do with what I call religion doctrine, but basic principles that we can operate our community by, and set up a council member and divide our community up where the community can represent, each community can represent themselves when we have issues. Until we ain't got to travel nowhere. Why haven't these brothers, men and women, who have did all these great things then and went all across the board, right here in our city of Chicago, right here, we ain't got to spend no money, why we can't get together and come up with something basic to govern our people by that is universal? Because to me, it's good to talk about old times, and it's good to talk about all the people across the seas and the waters and all the Shiites and all that, but at the end of the day, when you can't come outside without getting carjacked, robbed, murdered, 15 people shot, and all this other stuff, all that stuff don't matter to me. And I think the best thing that came was the Million Family March. So we need to stop the division thing and start doing the unity thing among the black man, the black woman, and black children. I end on that as I end. And what now, black people?
Yeah, my brother Art, I agree with you on everything you said. I guess my question would be back to you, and you might have highlighted some of it, but I'll just ask it again. So what say you? What say you in terms of the answer to that question? Your basic question is, why can't we? And then you name a few things. So my question to you is, why can't we?
I believe our stumbling block is we're looking for a leader, a savior. I think the entities that the big mosques and churches and all the people are still in their corner trying to push their own personal doctrine and they're now focused on one universal principle, is building the black family. See, we just talk about family, then we get out all the other stuff. But when we start talking about the Christian, the Muslims, and all our personal doctrine, that's where the division comes. And two young people can see that us at the top can come together with something that's universal, that has nothing to do with, quote unquote, I'm practicing my own personal religious beliefs, but I'm have to practice a general principle like not killing. Take
Brother Art.
Absolutely.
So I hear that, and to an extent I agree. But when as we lifted up the Million Man March, what we lifted up was that Muslims, Christians, Hebrews, agnostics, whatever they were all on that mall. They weren't divided that day. They were in unity.
I agree with you 100%. See, this is me. I'm getting past that day. I'm with you on that.
I understand, brother.
I don't have nothing, no pushback on that.
Okay. No, I understand. And we're in agreement. Hold on, brother. We're in agreement. But all right, let me just say this, because I'm in agreement with much of what you say. You spoke to the issue of monolithic. So, and I'm not speaking of just one day, but that one day was an example of what could happen, because you talked about monolithic. First of all, the black community is not a monolith. Secondly, you spoke of religion. The black community is a very spiritual, and that does not necessarily mean religion, but we're spiritual, and we attach the spirituality to religion. So we're not going to be all one. We're not going to discount religion. And so
okay, let me give you a little bit feedback on that when you say we're not monolithic. I disagree with you 100%. I'm going to tell you where we monolithic is. We all believe in a family. We believe in that. So that's something common. We all can come to an agreement. We believe in family. We all believe in shouldn't kill each other. Look, we believe in that. Okay, we got to come up with systems where we can solve problems within our community where it doesn't lead to violence on one another. And these are systems that we can set up in our own community. As I said, we have a council member 12 in every community when there's an issue. Our churches and mosques should be police stations, or stations where and I'm using lack of a better word, police stations where every community can represent. When these issues come up, we can deal with it. Cleaning, that's monolithic. We all want
brother Art. So I got you. Monolithic in that sense, of course we are, but everybody has not adopted to that. So while we're trying to get, quote unquote, this monolith, we have to teach and train and reach out from whatever avenue you come, because our people are in the various spiritual organizations. So if that's your spiritual thing, brother who's in that same spiritual line can come to you with the principles that are universal to us. So I mean, I'm in agreement. It's just that we need to have this conversation further, because everybody is not in agreement that I shouldn't carry a pistol to a party and shoot everybody in there. But that person can be reached by somebody. And when you say, let me just finish, because I'm in agreement, but I want to finish my point. When you say leadership, even yourself, brother, you're following some type of leadership. You may not say it's a person, but you have gotten education, you've gotten mentorship. So your leaders have been in front of you, and you have adopted the best qualities from those leaders so that you can pattern your life in the way that you want it to go, so that you can then go out and be a leader to another young brother who will walk into a party with a gat and start shooting up. But when they reflect back on you, he may not call you his leader, but he will call you a mentor. So we're in agreement, but I'm just wanting to point out.
I will use some of the words that the minister used. He said, be an example, be a brother.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
When we take out these words, leaders and all that, I can learn from anybody. And if you learn it on Truth to Righteousness, we can learn from that perspective. I believe, and this is something the minister said, the days of leaders are born an individual person who's going to lead black people. These are things the minister said. And so, I mean, if anybody push back on what he's the one who said we are brothers. He said that. He got out of the word and used the word title. See, I was this brother James. If you're the brother James that was at the final call, Trust me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I listen to. I know all of these things. So we can all be clear. We got to get to a point. And when you
Let me
say,
just end it with this.
I'm gonna just add it one point. When the Nation of Islam and Trinity Church can come together and operate on 12 basic fundamental family principles, I guarantee you can see the younger people saying where, because it's enough for us that's on the righteous path to push out those 10 or 15% that may not be on that trajectory, because we were overruled that. That's why when we move in neighborhoods, we look at the communities and say, even though you all never had a word to speak, but when you drove it in the neighborhood, you and your wife said, I like this community. You saw the grass cut, you saw the stores, you saw the businesses, you saw the school, you saw the interaction of the community. Even though you all never said a word, and some people don't believe in God, some people are Christian, Muslim.
We got an important segment to get to, so I do
right ahead. May God continue.
Let me say this last thing to you. Yes, the last thing I would say, and I'll just leave it at this: the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, every speech he gives, he says his leader and teacher is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I don't know. We could talk about the whole word leader and how we interpret that, but I'll just end with that. Every speech he gives, he says, my leader and teacher. So, Brother Art, I agree, and I appreciate this conversation, but I know Naba has an important segment he has to get to, so may Allah bless you, my brother.
Thank you, Brother Art, for your comments, and I want to close it with this. Brother Art, it seems like to me you got a program. So why don't you take your program and go around from church to church, mosque to mosque, and work to implement it? Lastly, I want to say the Million Man March was not just one day. There were multiple days over about a year and a half that produced that. That wasn't no hocus pocus magic wand occurrence. And this was Muslims, Christians, agnostics, atheists. Matter of fact, they did a survey that said a majority of the men that came to the Million Man March were Christians, not Muslims. And so I agree. Excuse me. Excuse me. So I agree that we have a need to come together. That's the work of the Nation of Islam. I've literally spent thousands of my own dollars, not only in my family, not only in the Nation of Islam, but in this community of South Shore where I live. Thousands. Let me say that again. Thousands. My money. Mm-hmm. Because I wanted the children and the young people to have a feel for what it was like to have community, as opposed to preaching community, but they don't see a strong enough manifestation. So this work is the work of the Nation of Islam. I'm sure it's the work of the Trinity United and others. But I would say, it sounds like to me you got a pretty good sketch. Why don't you flesh that out? And why don't you go around and start organizing behind the idea that you have? Do we still have Brother Muhammad on the line? And which Muhammad is that?
Let me get.
Okay,
yes, we got Cliff on.
Let's get Cliff in quickly. Then we're going to go to
Brother Assalamu alaikum. I'll be quick. I simply want to respond by saying that Minister Farrakhan gave us a blueprint. And if anybody's in construction, the blueprint are instructions, and it's up to the individual to follow those blueprints and those instructions. So Brother Art, in terms of the family, he speaks family all the time, but it's up to the individuals to follow that and to deal with that and to make their choice on their own. And so the Nation of Islam has given us, under Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, the blueprint. So it's up to the black people in our community to follow those instructions, and then we will be a better people. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for taking my call.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Cliff. And I want to say, brothers and sisters, we just have to go to work. Yeah. If it was a simple problem, it would have been solved by now. We have to work and fight hard for unity, because there's always somebody working against it. And we know we got people among us that work against it because they crave the slave master's approval. But I got a brother very near and dear to my heart who probably knew me, if not the first week I came to the mosque. Him and his lovely wife and family knew me by the second week. This is a segment that we're calling Black Men in Cancer, Fighting for Life. Brother Tim Muhammad out of Atlanta, former regional captain out of D.C., formerly my first officer out of D.C. Brother Tim, do you happen to be on the line right now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Brother Tim, I'm so sorry we had you to wait. I want us to hear, brothers and sisters, look, Brother Tim, neither Brother Tim nor I are here to dispense medical advice, right? I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I'm a lung cancer survivor. And I'm dealing with, personally, cleaning up any remaining prostate cancer in my body right now. I share that with you. It's personal, but we want you to, right? We want you to hear this. So, brothers, if you're listening, hear
Yes,
this. Sisters, if you're listening, get some of this information and take it to the brothers. So, Brother Tim, I'll start with a very simple question. Why did you decide to join this discussion tonight when I asked you if you would come on?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Yes, sir. I would like to thank you, Brother Naba and Brother James, and all of those at the station for inviting me to this very important discussion. So when you invited me, it's something that really, of course, is dear to me because I'm a cancer survivor. But when I went through the whole cancer ordeal as I was going through it, but before I even get into some of the stories, I would like to ask every brother that's listening to my voice on this station to please, even as the minister said, please go and get yourself a checkup. Yeah. The only thing that saved me really was the fact that I early diagnosis. Excuse me. Being early diagnosed, then I caught it because I had an aggressive form of cancer. But let me just say this. As I was going through my ordeal of cancer, just give you a little story. I was into the gym. I was very active into the gym. Matter of fact, I was doing personal training and all of that in the gym. I was going to the gym every other day, staying 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours a day, just training. And my body was in tip-top shape. I was eating well. I was on my high-eat live, 100%. I mean, I was into it, to the whole thing, Yeah. So as I was going through this, when I went to get my physical for that particular year, the doctor told me that my PSA was extremely high. And at first, I was like, what? A PSA was high? I mean, I was like, I didn't believe it because I didn't have a problem with that. I was at the top of my game. I was fit. I was loving. And at 70 years old, I was running young boys out the gym. I mean, I really was, I was, I was training some of them. I would put some of them on the machines, everything. They were running from it. I was training them too hard, So when I was told that my PSA was high and I had to go and get a biopsy, I ended up going to 5 different doctors because I didn't believe it. I'm like, man, Tim, what? Boom, man, I'm out here. Not out of arrogance, but because I was in such good shape. So as I went to the doctor, I went to 1, 2, 3. So the last doctor I went to, which was the 5th doctor, he was supposed to have been the best urologist, in Atlanta. So I went to him, and he told me, he said, Mr. Tim, yes, you do have cancer. Your prostate is filled with cancer.
Mm.
Oh,
Brother Tim.
Yes,
let me interrupt you for 1 second. Don't lose your point, please, okay?
Yes, sir.
Brothers, your PSA is a test. It's a blood test, okay? And the presence of this antigen, right? This antigen that shows up in your blood when they test you for your PSA level, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If it's above a certain level, it's an indicator that you may very well have prostate cancer. That's kind of the first. This is why Brother Tim is talking about early detection. This is why he's talking about going to the doctor. So that's one blood test. Now we know there's another test, which is the rectal examination, which your doctor does with his finger. Now, brother, as my sister said to me, Richard, that's nothing that any heterosexual male would enjoy, right? But this is part of. But this is part of how we find out what's going on with us. Lastly, as Brother Tim pointed out, right? He got the PSA test, blood test. Then he had to get a biopsy. And, the prostate is located in the area of the rectum and, that part of your body, right? Sex organs, etc. So then he had to get a biopsy where they go in and they essentially take just a little sample and they test it to find out whether or not it is cancerous. What Brother Tim was stressing was that he was at such a serious stage that only early detection literally saved his life. Go ahead, Brother Tim.
Absolutely. And also what you said, Brother Naba'a, is so key. When you talked about the rectal examination, that's when the doctor, go up in your rectum, but he's measuring the size of your prostate. After a certain age, a lot of us get an enlarged prostate. It comes with age. But the enlarged prostate don't actually determine whether or not you have cancer. It's in the blood. As Brother Naba'a said, once they check the blood out, then that tells you whether or not your PSA is high or moving, getting high fast, or it's a slow-moving process, Mine, as I said before, was aggressive. It was fast-moving, And as I went through the doctors, it was steady going up until finally the last doctor that I went to, which ended up being my surgeon, he told me that my prostate was diseased, with cancer, and I had to have the prostate surgery and all of that, But I can't stress it enough because I've talked to brothers And brothers say, man, I don't want to be a part of the examination, man. I don't want to, man. Stand up in my butt there. And look, man, when it comes down to your life, you better man up, take care of business, because the life you save may be your own. So all of that old finicky stuff or acting all crazy like that, man, go and get your examination. Get your examination. Get your rectal examination. Get your blood examination. Save your life, man. You don't want to be fatherless for your children or husbandless for your wives and everything because you don't want to get an examination on you.
Right.
Go on out there and take their business. And when I found out that I had cancer, I asked the doctor, I said, where did this come from? Because, man, I'm in tip-top shape. All of my numbers are good. I'm at the top of my game. Although I'm 70 years old, I felt like my body was tight. I'm doing what the message and the minister had asked us to do when it comes to eating, exercise, everything. Where did this come from? And the doctor told me, he said, there's been an increase, in prostate cancer in black men. He said in white men, it's testicular cancer of, the testicle. But in black men, it's a great increase in that. So, I don't know if it's coming from, our community, food that we eat, what they put in community. I don't know. But if it's an increase in black men, then we have to look at us being a target for these things that are happening. So I tell all brothers, man, I don't care, young or old, what you think. Get your checkup on a regular basis, and fight this thing,
That's right.
So when after I got my examination and had to go and get the operation and all of that, I thought that everything was okay. And the doctor told me, he said, look, we're going to have to remove the prostate. He said, you can do one of two things. You can go through radiation, and first go through radiation. He said, but because where the prostate is located, if radiation don't get it all, then we got to remove the prostate anyhow. And then if we remove the prostate and you still have cancer there, we can't give you radiation again. There. So I said, okay. And, I got with my wife. We discussed it and all of that. And I decided, to have the prostate removed. I did that, and my PSA, of course, dropped. And they got the cancer out that all that we thought that was there. And I was doing pretty good for about a year. And after a year, because they didn't get all of the cancer, my PSA started rising again.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I had to get radiation to get the rest of the cancer that was in my system.
Yeah.
So I had to get 37 treatments of radiation. Can you imagine, brother, going to the doctor? I went there every day except for holiday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I got radiation treatment. I was going down there, and I was telling the technician and the doctor, when I would go down, I said, oh, okay. But they put me in this microwave again. And then they would, and they would say, Mr. Tim, why would you say that? I'm saying it because it's real. You put me on this table and you're cooking me. So I'm going to that, So, but anyhow, I went through that whole thing. of radiation 37 treatment, and I'm alive.
What'd you say, Brother Tim? What'd you just say?
I'm alive.
Wait. What did you just say?
I said I'm alive.
I'm alive. So, brothers and sisters, that's why we're talking about fighting.
Yes, sir.
All praises due to Allah. That's why we're talking about fighting for your life, man.
Right.
Yeah. Let me tell you about somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
This man had a cancer screening at 42, and his doctor remarked that the condition of his prostate was that of a teenager's. It was 16 years later when he got his next testing for the disease. Cancer had been developed in his prostate, and he was diagnosed after a digital rectal examination in 1991. That man, brothers and sisters, was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is a survivor of prostate cancer. This is what he said in 2003, 20 years ago now. This is the minister speaking from the final call. I realized that this disease, prostate cancer, was killing black men at terrific rates, and that as men, we are difficult in terms of allowing ourselves to be tested. But my dear brothers, let me encourage you. In fact, I'm going to spend the rest of my days encouraging men in general and black men in particular, don't wait. Let me go a little further now. He said we are losing too many of our great ones. My God. And he added that it's more than the loss of one man. This is what Brother Tim was referring to, brothers. It's a family's loss.
Right.
So fighting this cancer becomes a family issue. So the minister noted that black men have the highest mortality rates from the prostate cancer in the world. That means we die the most. We got the highest rates for dying from prostate cancer.
Right.
That's what mortality rates mean in the world. And the minister advised us to begin taking annual prostate tests at the age of 35. That early.
Wow.
And to those, the minister said, don't sleep like I did when I was 42, he warned. That's your date with destiny. Now, the minister also asked black women to help motivate the men in their lives to and their families to get screened for prostate cancer. He also encouraged them to take care of he's talking to black women. He encouraged black women to take care of their own health as it relates to female reproductive cancer. So look, brothers and sisters, the other thing that Brother Tim and I talked about, brothers, you got to get an annual physical. Because when you get your blood work in that annual physical, that's how I found out that my PSA level was rising, right? And I got to be honest, I didn't have no major health insurance, brother. I went to a little clinic with a sliding fee scale, right? This beautiful Nigerian doctor, man. Beautiful Nigerian. I'm telling you, brothers, man, you better start recognizing who your family is, man.
That's right.
All
Go
this
ahead.
foolishness about where somebody's from. You better cut it out.
Right.
You better understand that we are the original people of the planet. And we got people all over the planet. This brother was right here in America. And he looked after me, man. With that blood test. Then after the blood test and my PSA level was up, he gave me drug therapy to see if he could bring it down. One day, I'm sorry, brothers. I gotta.
That's right. Take your time, bro.
Slow down a little. But this man, my beautiful Nigerian doctor, Dr. Wasu, right, at the Cottage View Health Center, right here in Chicago, on Cottage View It's right down there near Cottage View Health Center. And you can go in there, and even if you don't have health insurance, you can get help now. And there are different ways you can look to qualify for health insurance now through Obamacare, through Medicaid, whatever you got to do, or just pay a little fee, brother. Get that exam, that physical, because that's how my PSA level got caught. Then my beautiful Nigerian doctor, he gave me drug therapy. That didn't help. After that, he made me an appointment with Northwestern where I had to get the biopsy. Yeah. And I was diagnosed in 2017 or 2017. I had the operation. I was blessed to talk to the minister who sent me to a great healer, a urologist in Indiana, Dr. Carrie Ransom. And if you can get to Dr. Ransom or get to anybody, go now. Dr. Ransom happens to be a beautiful black man with a beautiful bedside manner. And let me say this, brothers and sisters. Don't be foolish, man. Go get the best care you can get. Okay?
That's right.
And get it quick.
That's
get
right.
that information quick.
Right.
So
Right.
I had the surgery. Doing that before, well, I'm not going to get into that. While I was preparing for the surgery, some other stuff was diagnosed, right? Mm-hmm. But Dr. Ransom took care of the surgery, and it was robotic surgery, brothers. It's not like the old days where they got to cut you and split you. No, robotic surgery. Right. You get some time to heal, of course. So the minister sent me to him and took care of me. I'm talking about financially, and I don't like to kind of get into this because I think it's ungrateful. Well, it would be silly of me to act like I'm only with this man because he did something for me, and this man's been working for our people longer than I've been alive. But there also comes a time, brothers and sisters. There comes a time, man, where I got to bear witness to this great man and what he has done for me, not only in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, but his personal care for me. This man's and sincerity, the beauty of his heart. And the beautiful thing is, I'm not the only one he's done this for.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
He's done it for many, right? So my point is, I got the surgery. Everything seemed to be okay. Through the COVID, I didn't see Dr. Ransom, right? He's a urologist, so he deals with prostate health and other health issues in the area of the rectum and the penis, okay? He's a specialist in that, okay?
Yes, sir.
So I went to see him coming out of COVID. And when I went to see him, I realized I hadn't seen him in 2 years. It didn't even seem like that, right? He looked at my PSA level. He said, brother, get to an oncologist, which is a cancer specialist, right away, he said. Right now. So I've been working on that. That brought me back to, let me say this, brothers. I mean, my God. About protection and about knowing what's going on with your body. Look, man.
Right. Yes.
Please listen. So I go to a doctor because I'm trying to deal with my PSA level, right? Beautiful Asian doctor in this case. He gives me this total body scan called a PET scan. With this PET scan, brothers and sisters, they find a small cancerous tumor in my lung. So the doctor says to me, Mr. Muhammad, it was really a blessing that we took you through that scan because because we would never have suspected you of having lung cancer because you don't have none of the indicators. You don't smoke. You basically never smoked. You haven't worked in certain environments. But because of trying to look after my health, they found that cancer, again, simple operation in through my side. They didn't have to crack my chest open there. Simple operation, in through the side, remove the tumor. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm undergoing, just like Brother Tim did. I finished my, tomorrow I finished my 4th week of similar radiation treatment to what Brother Tim said. And I'll have 4 more weeks to go.
Go ahead.
So brothers and sisters, we're sharing this with you not because we're medical experts, not because we're doctors, we're not that. We're just your brothers who have had an experience. And we want to share with you what we have been through for your benefit. So if you want to ask a question, please call 773-591-1690. Brother Tim, why don't you go ahead with what you were saying?
Yes, sir. And let me say this too, also, Brother Naba. For those that have this dreadful disease of cancer, you can't give up. You got to fight. You got to fight. And don't be afraid of the diagnosis. A lot of brothers don't want to go to the doctor because they're afraid of what the doctor may tell them. Some of us running around here half dead and don't even know we're half dead because we haven't gotten an examination. It could be anything, you know. So you got to, once you're diagnosed and you know you have it, or some that are struggling with it, man, you can't give up the ghost. You got to fight. I mean, you got to give it everything you got because, as Brother Naba said, you are important in this life. You're important. My wife, she was so, I guess she was so hurt and sad and worried about me when I was going through my cancer. That she ended up being diagnosed with cancer. And my wife had, Sister Beverly, she had to go and get a mastectomy, meaning she had to have one of her breasts removed because she had a tumor in her breast. She had breast cancer. But, she took it like a champ. She fought just like I fought. And both of us right now are alive. We're well and alive. We thank Allah for life because He could have taken it from us, but we thank Him for life. I thank Allah for the good as well as the bad because we think it's bad, but it's a perceived bad. I don't know why I went through it. I don't know why I'm still here, but I thank Allah for taking me through the experience and for keeping me here, so that I can tell other brothers, or my wife can tell other sisters what they have to go through. Because this thing is not just on me or Brother Naba or something like this. As Brother Naba said, it's plaguing, like the minister said, it's plaguing black men in particular. So we need to have discussions like this, and we need to have community of brothers that we can sit down and discuss this and go through various different stages of telling them how they can, how we can help them, even with sharing our story and things of this sort. Because this thing is no joke, man. When I got back, when I got through going through my operation and all of that, I was going around teaching brothers in Atlanta. Every time I get a call from a brother, I would tell brothers about this. And one day some brothers went on went on like a little trip on this boat and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't go. They wanted me to go. I didn't go because of the whole, the pandemic and all this kind of stuff. Right? So, and plus he had the cancer. My sister was weak, so I didn't want to go and go through all of that. So the brothers called me, so they let me speak to the brother that was on the boat. So I talked to them. I told them about getting tests and all of that. And I spoke to them real strong and real hard. Man, it was like about a month later after that, one of the same brothers that was on that trip ended up dying of prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
Because I was telling them to get tested. But this one of the same brothers that were on that boat ended up dying of prostate cancer because he did not get that checkup. When I got my checkup, they gave me a bone scan, MRI, everything, because it may start in the prostate, but as it travels through the body, it could end up in your bone. In your bone marrow, where it's spreading cancer all throughout the organs in your body. And that they get so, your body gets so filled with this disease, then there's no hope for you. That's why I'm saying you have to get the examination, and brothers, man, look, I cannot stress it enough. But anyone that's listening, you have to do this.
Brothers, I hope that you are hearing us because this is from the heart, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The reason why I was even looking at prostate health was because of my minister's experience.
Mm-hmm.
So he saved my life because I came to greater awareness. And so then the testing of, for the PSA level, which is, again, something that can indicate that you have prostate cancer. And, again, this is a regular blood test. You can get it during your annual physical, right? So you can start there, brothers.
Right,
annual
absolutely.
Physical. And find out what's going on with your body, man. I was saying to Brother Tim, I got one of my sons, this boy's in his 30s. I cannot get him to get a daggone physical to save my life, man, or to save his. So I'm going to have to call him tomorrow or text him tomorrow. Say, man, you gave me your word. Have you set up that appointment? So I don't know if he's embarrassed. I don't know if he's afraid. But, brothers, look, getting the information. Brother Tim shared with you how getting the information led to the detection, led to literally saving his life. Then he speaks to brothers, and a short time after that, one of those brothers dies. We don't have to die, brother.
No, we don't have to
for
die.
the life that Allah has given.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And if you find out that you have cancer, don't be deterred. Fight, man. Fight for this life that Allah has given us. We have to do it. And I can't stress enough, don't be afraid, to get this examination. A lot of brothers don't want the result of what they feel that they may get once they get an examination. Yeah. But you have to. Sir?
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. I want to say this. I know we're talking about the cancer, and I don't want to change the subject, but simple thing like the blood pressure. A lot of brothers are even afraid. Their blood pressure can lead to something. They call it the silent killer. So it's best to at least know your blood pressure, what your blood pressure is, because that can take you out as well. I didn't want to divert from that, but that's easy to do And Brother Naba, you're not the only one with a problem with your son. Go get a checkup, because I got that issue too, man.
Right. Because we suffer from hypertension, black people, period, male and female. And if you got high blood pressure, one of the leading cause of kidney failure is high blood pressure. High blood pressure will blow a set of kidneys out in a minute. And then next thing you know, man, you're on dialysis and things like that. All because you would not get a checkup. A simple checkup. You know?
Let me
would kill you. So whether it be cancer, whether it be high blood pressure, whether it be high cholesterol, whatever. Because some of the food we eat, man, some of us may have these things because it's hereditary, but some of these things come from our poor eating habits and things of that sort.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So we have to get away from that. That's why we got to thank Allah so much for the teaching of the Naba'a Muhammad, because these are some of the things, man, that we can get away from by being on how to eat to live,
Absolutely.
Some of these things, I believe, that has been spread in our community. I really believe that, because we are targeted. We live in some of the most toxic communities. Period. Yes, we do.
Brother Tim, I'm going to give you a minute, because we're coming to the top of the hour. Take a minute and give us a closing remark. But brother, thank you so much, brother. First, you'll always be my brother first.
That's right.
And my first brother too. Not only my brother, first officer. I love this man and his family. But brother Tim, give us about 30 seconds.
And get a greeting to your wife too, bro. Get a
greeting to your wife. Yep.
Yes, I will do that. I won't be long. What I want to say, if you do have cancer, please don't give up. Fight it, man. Don't be ashamed. Fight it, man. Go to doctor that you can trust. As Brother Naba said, you got to have one that you feel comfortable with and one that you can trust. Have a confidant, a brother that you can talk to about these things, because some of these things affect some more than affect others, But you have to be able to have someone that you can feel comfortable with as you start going through this, So I'm going to leave it there. I'm saying again, go get a checkup. Like Brother James said, for everything.
Thank you, Brother Tim. Thank you. So, brothers and sisters, you're listening to Straight Words. This is WVON 1690 AM. We're at the top of the hour. We'll be right back after the break, by God's grace. Stay tuned. You're going to be hearing from the replay of the ministers in our final hour, okay? So, 1690 AM, WVON. Go on, take us out, Deontay.